Harmonize with me and hold me tight all through the night. You're shining bright. I'm your oyster, baby. You're my pearl.
My dearest Dominic, here we are on the Friendship Onion.
We're back again.
I love it.
We're wearing two different trousers.
Well, we always do.
Sometimes we wear jeans at the same time.
Oh, I thought you meant we wore the same trousers.
Oh, no.
One arm in the left leg, you on the right.
But I like that colour of trouser. I was saying that earlier on. I'm a little colourblind. How do you describe the colour of that trouser?
Olive green.
Fantastic.
What would you call them?
Desert khaki? Desert safari? Safari deserts?
Santan.
Santan. Okay, great. Well, we've got through the trouser section.
Very good.
How's it going? You've been to Hawaii.
I did go to Hawaii, Dom.
Aloha, mahalo.
Yeah, I was working over there just for a short time, and I hadn't been to Hawaii for a while, and I liked it.
It's a great part of the world.
Well, you spent a long time there doing Lost, didn't you?
Love the humidity. I love it.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's almost as hot as LA, sometimes hotter than LA.
Yeah, it was hotter. It was hotter.
But way more humid. And I like that humidity.
I know what you mean, Dom. You don't get that, painful. It's more like, oh, I'm in a jungle.
It's like you're in a jungle, in a greenhouse. It feels good for your skin, good for your just general overall health. There's a great phrase. It's a word, but it's actually two words together, so a kind of a phrase. It is. That they use in Hawaii. Don't know if you've heard it. But I really like it.
Here we are.
Called Dakine. Do you know this? Dakine.
Well, there's a shoe.
Surf brand. Right,
what does it mean?
Dakine. So it's D-A and then separate word K-I-N-E.
Yeah.
Dakine is, I've put some stuff on my mic there, is for anything that you can't think of the name of. So you'd be like, but pass me Dakine. Or how was surfing today? Oh, it was Dakine. Where you off to after this? I'm going to Dakine.
I didn't know that.
It's a filler. Now, I think that also exists in other languages, but we don't have it in English, do we? We'd say thingamy or what's
Thingamy Bob.
But Dakine is actually...
Dakine. I'm going to use that.
Great, isn't it?
Well, I'm always searching for words. So that's a good one for me.
It's a very good one.
Unless I start searching for Dakine. Peeling the onion.
Well, we've had some correspondence, so we jump right in because we've got a stacked show today. We've got a fantastic guest, tons of housekeeping to do.
Tom, quite a few people tried making my potato pancakes or potato scones, as I call them. And Tony Carroll did. He says, how did you make potato pancakes sound so wonderful? Well, we've been eating those my whole life, he says. I usually have patties. It's the same concept, but instead of rolling the dough out and cutting it into triangles, which is very important in my style, as you know, Don.
Yeah.
We just make the patties like you would a hamburger, brown it on top and the bottom, and it's fluffy in the inside to add flavour. Minced chives.
Oh, I like a chive.
We add that to the dough. Also really good with sour cream, like latkes.
Potato like it.
You like that?
Yeah.
Which is, they use shredded potato, of course, instead of mashed. But people around the world love potato pancakes of some type. That's true. You find them everywhere, really.
Yeah.
But those flat potato scones,
Well, you and I have not done a Billy and Dom Eat the World personally, have we? Like, we've not done our own. So possibly at one point you could make your potato pancakes. Scones. And bring them in.
And you've never tasted them, have you?
I had them on the morning of your wedding.
Oh, yeah, but were they mine?
You forgot.
Yeah.
I mean, you buried it.
What's the fastest cake in the world, Dom?
It's gone.
Well done, Dom.
Whoa! Lovely stuff. Jane Harding wrote to us on YouTube. Regarding the hand tattoo that Billy suggested putting on his chest, Jane said, after Billy mentioned tattooing his hand on his chest and making it into making it into the shape of the United States, I'm thinking we need this printed on T-shirts or some sort of Friendship Onion merch. That's a great idea.
That is a good idea.
The Friendship Onion map of America based on your wonderful hand. And you do have wonderful hands.
Yeah, I've got two of them.
Oh, yeah, you do, yeah.
And
they look quite similar.
And would we actually have the states, do you think?
I think you should.
All of them.
Or should we?
It's a good way to learn, isn't it?
Guess what? Maybe we separate the states into where the borders are, but not put the name on it.
And then you have
people
to
can
work
point
it out.
and go,
Yeah.
that's there. That's
Or what if the states were written in like that invisible ink that you have to shine a UV torch on? And the T-shirt comes with a UV torch.
The T-shirt's glow in the dark. Would
That's
it
what
be
I
glow in
mean.
the dark? Is
Well,
that
it's
right?
glow in the UV.
You're right, like a scorpion.
Yeah.
We've got another one here about maple syrup. Shall I read this one? Because this was
Go
a little
on.
bit about what I said. Mayrin? Is that how you would say this lady's name?
I would say
Mayrin?
Mayrin. Yeah, Mayrin.
Mayrin Taj Kaya.
Mayrin Tajkaya.
I hope I've got your name right.
You got it perfect, Tom.
Who told us, I have to put my 2 cents in here. As a woman who thought maple syrup would be awesome in the context that Dom mentioned.
I remember you mentioning that.
On a woman, because she loves maple syrup. She says, I can say it was incredibly and annoyingly sticky in a cumbersome and distracting sort of way. Best reserved for the gastronomic arts instead, just a friendly warning. Now, someone has poured maple syrup on her.
Well, you see, I thought that wouldn't be pleasurable.
I think in the moment, in that first minute,
Yeah.
it's pleasurable because you think, lovely woman, lovely skin,
Yeah.
lovely taste, sweetness. But then as the time goes on, you
Even
might
if-
get fluff on it.
Even if I'm making pancakes and I get some in my thumb, that annoys me.
As a kid, you know, when your parents would give you an ice cream cone, but you weren't old enough to be able to negotiate with the melting, and it would go down your hand. I used to have a really hard time with that. Mom, my hands, it's become a claw.
What did your mum do?
I think she would just take my ice cream off me and eat it. Yeah.
Turned out quite a tragic tale. That.
It was actually. My mum got in touch with me today, as she is wont to
Hiya,
do.
Maureen.
Hiya, Maureen. Hiya, Momo. And said that when we were kids, we lived in Germany. We would come back to Manchester. And upon leaving Manchester, my dad's late mother, my grandma, would very often give us like a joint of meat, you know, like a joint of beef or a joint of ham.
A silver side or something.
Yeah, something like that to go back with.
Yeah.
And in a way that we got a song lyric wrong on purpose, my brother and I would sing based on that beautiful Paul Young song. Every time you go away, dun, dun, you take a piece of meat with you. Lovely stuff. So send us in any of your lyrics that you purposefully get wrong. Oh, someone else said, remember the Madonna erotica song?
Yeah.
Erotic.
Yeah.
Erotic. Put
Yeah.
your hands all over my body. One of our friends said that when they were kids, they used to sing, Bill
Bill-Audie.
put your hands all over my body. The diminutive goodie.
But I love the goodies.
I like the goodies too, and he's now become almost a professional bird watcher, right?
He is a professional bird watcher. He gets paid for watching birds, so that, yeah.
Do you know the slang of what a bird watcher is?
No.
A twitcher.
A twitcher.
Because
Lovely.
they're constantly like that.
Oh, yeah, watching birds.
Now, you were going to tell me about a song lyric, I think.
No,
Is that right?
before that, I was
Oh,
going to tell you
Momo.
talking about slabs of meat.
Please.
My mother, we didn't often have a lot of money in our house when I was growing up.
Right.
And one time we got a lovely big silver side.
No, what's Silverside?
It's like it's a good cut
Is
of
it?
like beef. It's like a big, you know what I mean?
All right.
It would do the house all week. It would do our Sunday roast, but then we'd have it the rest of the week in sandwiches. And
What
that.
a treat.
My mum
But-
cooked it,
Okay.
stuck it on the kitchen table. There was a boxer dog next door to us called Tara. Tara came in, took the whole bloody thing down.
I bet Tara got a beating, didn't she?
Tara get chased right down the street by my mum. She never caught her.
Mm. We've got a friend who will remain nameless who used to like throwing his dog up in the air when it misbehaved. Do you remember that?
Well, I never liked that, Tom.
No, I didn't like seeing it either.
I love dogs. Right,
I love
hold
dogs
on.
too. Couldn't eat a whole one.
So you were asking about lyrics, misheard lyric stuff.
Yes, or purposely missang lyrics there.
Here's Dave Willett says,
What's up, Dave?
Eleanor Rigby by the Beatles. I always sing, I look at all the lovely people.
Look at all the lovely people. Well, that's lovely.
He says his wife corrects him every time, but he says, I can't sing it any other way.
Well, I also think instead of lonely, singing lovely is just a wonderful way to look
Maybe-
at your life.
Maybe Mr. McCartney could have a look at that and maybe change those. He's the only man that's allowed to change those lyrics, you know.
True at this point, yeah.
You got any, Tom?
Well, no, that was the only one that I remember. Bill Oddie, put your hands all over my body. And every time you go away, you take a piece of meat with you.
Hey, here's the thing. Somebody tell us something from nothing, this person's called. And remember when we were eating apples?
Of course I do.
They were lovely, weren't they?
Crazy.
And remember the seeds? And I said, you shouldn't eat the seeds.
It's a small amount of cyanide, isn't it?
It's cyanide, Dom. But something from nothing says it would take around 200 apples to be enough to kill you.
I mean, if anyone can eat 200 apples, it might be me, right?
So don't eat the seeds then.
I said this to you the time when we did the episode of the apples. It's one of the nicest compliments that you've ever said to me, that you consider me to be the person who eats the most amount of apples you've ever met in your life. That's a wonderful compliment, because I love an apple, me.
Yeah, you do.
But why? Maybe someone out there can tell us, why would an apple seed contain cyanide? What is the benefit for the apple? Because an apple wants its seeds to be eaten and then transported to different parts of the area so that it can have more apple trees.
Through the small intestine, you mean?
Yes, possibly passing through a bird's anus.
So do you think maybe
Good
cyanide...
name for a band, actually, bird's anus.
Do you think cyanide maybe prevents it being eaten by the stomach acid being dissolved by it or something?
Was cyanide a natural preservative, you say? Possibly.
If anyone knows, if you could write to us at thefriendshiponion@castmedia.com.
Is it, now this is only a guess.
Right, go.
Is it to stop a large animal from eating lots and lots of apples and then just literally dumping them all in one spot, as opposed to a small animal eating one apple and moving away because they think, well, if I eat too many, I get gutsy ache.
So what you're saying is, if there was a bunch of rhinoceri,
great,
and one of them went to eat like 200 apples, his mum the rhinoceri, would say, don't eat 200 of them.
Don't eat 198.
You're all right.
Cut yourself off.
Because of cyanide, that very tiny bit, and then he'll take that and pass it down in a Darwinian way.
Mm-hmm. Jerry Seinfeld has a great bit about rhinoceros and also nose jobs, because you know the Latin term for a nose job is rhinoplasty.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. If you're going in for a nose job and someone's referring to you as a rhino.
Well, it's from the Latin, you see, Dom.
Well, yeah, big nose.
Right.
But you don't want to, point it out like that, do you? It's a bit uncouth.
Fair enough.
One of the few things that you can only be on of. You can't be couth, can you? You can only be uncouth.
Uncouth, you can't be couth. No.
One cannot be couth.
No.
I don't think we've had any more tongue twisters, or have we? Have you had a tongue twister via a voicemail?
There is
Johnny
a few
Clues?
tongue twisters.
We're loving the tongue twister section.
Johnny's been practicing them all week. He's amazing now.
I've shaved off 2 seconds from the Peter Piper.
I knew you'd be working on that.
I remember telling you this back in New Zealand, because this is one of the few things that I can do really well. I can do a relatively complicated tongue twister very well. I'll do it for you right now.
Right,
You'll know
I'm ready.
it. I'm not a pheasant plucker. I'm a pheasant plucker's son, and I'm only plucking pheasants till the pheasant plucker comes.
That was amazing.
That's not easy. We should get Johnny Clues to try it himself. But do you want to try that? I'll slow it down for everyone at home and you. I'm not a pheasant plucker. I'm a pheasant plucker's son.
Right.
And I'm only plucking pheasants till the pheasant plucker comes. That's all it is. It's simply that.
A pheasant plucker?
Yeah.
I'm not a pheasant plucker. I'm a pheasant plucker's son. I'm only plucking pheasants till the pheasant plucker comes.
That was great. And that was a few seconds. That was like...
Was that all right?
4 seconds or so.
I'll keep working on that.
Yeah, keep going.
I'm not a pheasant plucker. I'm a pheasant plucker's son. I'm only plucking pheasants till the pheasant plucker comes.
Brilliant.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, it's not an easy one, because if you trip up, you do accidental swear words.
Maybe we could do more later, but I know we have a fantastic guest.
We do have an amazing guest who we should bring on. Matt, just to conclude on the tongue twisters, which I thought was hilarious when we did it. My favorite thing about you with the tongue twisters is when you were doing Peter Piper, you suddenly morphed into a member of the English royal family. So you're like, right, okay, let's go. Peter Piper, Peter Pegger, I watched it so many times.
As from the RP class in drama college, I think.
It's to like get your mouth around the words a little better. You just become a little more
English, I think. Don't you think?
Johnny, do you want to try our tongue twister? Because Billy got it perfect.
You want me to do as fast as possible?
Yeah, please.
Well, we can time you, Johnny. You ready? Hold
All right.
on.
I mean, I'm a little nervous.
I'm going to give you
I'm
going to give you a 3, 2, 1.
Well, give me
And
a
then
3, 2,
it
1,
begins-
go.
Right, you ready? So you go on, go.
Hey, all right, yeah. I'm
3,
ready.
2, 1, go.
I'm not a pheasant plucker. I'm a pheasant plucker's son. I'm only plucking taters.
No, you get it, Johnny. You get it. Here we
You
go.
got 3 goes, John.
3, 2, 1, go.
I'm not the pheasant plucker. Taters.
No.
Wait,
Oh dear, no, we can't have that.
that's 2
Jeez,
wrong.
that's
Whoops.
taters.
John, I'll just give you a demonstration.
Here we go.
for it.
Watch this. I'll give you a timing, Dom.
Please
3, 2, 1, go.
I'm not a pheasant plucker. I'm a pheasant plucker son, and I'm only plucking pheasants till the pheasant plucker comes.
3 seconds and 28
That's
less than
Whoa!
seconds.
That's like seeing the Beatles perform.
Right, John, it's your last go. Just
right.
stop with
Last
this
go.
swearing, John.
Just get it to the end, John.
Yeah,
Just
come
get
on.
it to the end. The time doesn't matter. What was it you said to Dom last week? Just take it easy. You ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm not the pheasant plucker. I'm the pheasant plucker's son. I'm only plucking pheasants until the pheasant pluckers come.
That
That
is
was
terrible.
perfect.
That was
That was
absolutely
perfect,
textbook.
John.
How many mistakes did he get?
That
in
was
there?
awful.
That
That might be cut from the show from my note.
No.
8.11
We
seconds.
can't cut that. Anyway.
We have a voicemail from somebody who did a 5.8 second one.
Oh, come on, let's hear
All
that
right, wanna
voicemail,
hear
and then we'll
this?
bring in our illustrious guest.
I can't believe the guest we got.
Oh, it's incredible, our guest today.
Here
I
we
mean, the stuff he knows about these Lord of the Rings things, you won't believe. Go on, Johnny.
Good morning, boys.
Hello.
This
Hi.
is Steph,
Hey, Steph.
aka Click and Tuna,
Oh, hi.
your friendly neighborhood episode artist.
Oh, yeah.
It's Tuesday morning. I've just listened to the new episode and I'm about to start my drawing, but I wanted to drop a line to say that while I considered holding a tongue twister contest among my family, it just wouldn't matter because I would smoke them all. I happen to be pretty good at tongue twisters.
Oh.
And to prove it, I present to you live on voicemail, Peter Piper.
Okay.
Here we go. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, a peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? So, yeah.
Dom, I don't think.
Was that the fastest Peter Piper you've ever heard? It was for me.
Yeah. I mean, and it was perfect, wasn't it? It wasn't even as if it was.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't like
slur.
John's.
It wasn't John. She
Wasn't-
didn't
yeah.
John it. That was fantastic. Nice
That
work,
was amazing.
Steph.
Lovely work.
Send us in your successful or unsuccessful attempts at tongue twisters. We like the unsuccessful ones too. And send us in really tricky ones for Billy and I to do. Irish wristwatch. Irish wristwatch. Irish wristwatch. Do it.
Irish wristwatch.
Easy.
Irish wristwatch. Irish wristwatch.
It's tough, right?
That's so hard.
You got to pull that face. Right. Well, let's intro our guests.
Are you doing the intro?
I'm going to do the intro.
Right. Come on then, Tom.
Because the Lord of the Rings trilogy was such a momentous task for anyone to try and attempt to do, Mr. Peter Jackson, of course, he utilized the help of some very talented producers and humans.
Yeah.
And our guest, Mr. Mark Ordesky, who's coming in a second, was an incredible help, not only to Pete, but also to us, the actors, and was one of the major kind of go-betweens from the studio over in the United States to New Zealand. I'll read a little blurb here about Marco.
Before you do,
Please.
I was just thinking about it last night, and I was thinking all the moving pieces that had to fit together to just get Lord of the Rings made. I think people forget because it was a success, like how difficult all that must have been. And all those moving pieces, I would say Mark is one of the most important pieces.
Yeah.
And we're going to find out that why.
Right in the middle of all of it. He's almost like a crossroads,
Yeah.
right? And he was also wearing so many different hats for different people because for us as actors, he was kind of our friendly, approachable producer that we can also hang out with and ask questions of. But then he's doing stuff with Pete and he's doing stuff with the studio and he's doing stuff with the crew. And he was in New Zealand a lot, wasn't he?
Yeah,
So-
and through his work with New Line at that time, he was already a fan of Pete before Lord of the Rings, and it'll be good to ask him about that stuff.
We're going
But
to ask
anyway,
him. I'll read a little
Give us some
blurb.
facts.
Here's
Tom.
a little
Give
blurb.
us facts.
Mark Ordesky, who we call Marco, is an American film and television producer, probably best known for executive producing the Oscar-winning Lord of the Rings trilogy, during which he spent the better part of 5 years in New Zealand supporting his friend Peter Jackson's historic vision. Whilst growing up at an indie studio, New Line Cinema, Mark acquired or exec produced over 60 films, 60, collectively grossing nearly $4 billion at the worldwide box office, earning 38 Academy Award nominations and 18 wins. My goodness, including the company's first Best Picture nominee and its first Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival. Mark also helped introduce Jackie Chan to the US audience with the breakout hit Rumble in the Bronx. Mark currently runs independent production company Court 5 with fellow New Line veteran Jane Fleming, fashioning independent film and TV content for Hollywood studios and broadcasters, as well as global streamers. Wow, what a CV.
Right?
Curriculum vitae.
Curriculum vitae. So let's welcome on to the Friendship Onion, Mr. Mark Ordesky.
Billy Marks here.
Hello, Mark.
Hey,
how's it going?
Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you guys.
We were just saying off mic there, when was the last time you and I saw each other? We went for lunch because we were talking about Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, you were getting ready to play.
Yeah, I ended up playing with a company called Helpful Goat that was really fun. When did you guys last see each other?
I think it was at a screening of something.
Yes.
So it might have been one of the Hobbit movies, maybe.
I bet it
As far
was.
back as that?
It could have been the last Hobbit movie.
Time goes, it really does.
It does.
Well, Mark, I think a lot of people out there are going to be really fascinated to try and understand what it took for you to get to the lofty position to be able to be one of the producers of Lord of the Rings.
Sure.
So I wonder if maybe we could go all the way back and you could maybe tell us as a young adult how you wanted to get involved in TV and film and what you needed to study, because what an incredible amount of achievements you've done in your career. And I'm sure people would think, well, maybe I'll try and do what Mark Ordesky did.
Yeah, I was very fortunate. It starts out, as it relates to Lord of the Rings, it goes back to 12 or 13 years old when I read the books. And that got me into Dungeons and Dragons, which takes us right to now as well. But in terms of the film business, I was in university, I was studying print journalism, and I wrote a short story for a class, which through a series of circumstances that could really only happen here in Los Angeles, that story got put into development at one of the major studios through no real effort of my own. It just kind of happened. And it was a moment of good fortune, timing, and privilege that it did happen that way. But anyway, what's more importantly is after that, I got a job reading screenplays for producers and executives to help them deal with the volume of material they got. And when I had that job, I sort of realized that I was never going to be as good a writer as the writers that I was reading, but I had a knack for identifying talented writers and almost more importantly, for advocating on their behalf. So when I read something I really dug, I had the ability to be persuasive about it to the people I was working for. And I realized in that moment that was going to be my main skill.
That's like the gift that you found. Now, when you said you were reading other writers' scripts and stuff, were you still studying at university, or that was your actual job at that point?
That was my actual job. When I wrote this short story, I went off the journalism path and I got on this Hollywood path.
Right. And what happened to the short story? Did it ever get made?
Never got made. It was in development at TriStar for 4 years. And then it just came back to me. Most of the things don't get made.
Right. We know that, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay. So then you became advocating talented writers. And then did you start to kind of catch fire with a few people that actually did turn their projects into
No,
films?
actually, it's super helpful. I got fired from that job. It's the only job I've been fired from so far. But the two things I really loved in that job, two films, we're going back to the mid-'80s now, which was Mystic Pizza, which is Julia Roberts' first film, and Major League.
Right.
I love those scripts. And after I got fired, those scripts got made and they turned into successful movies. And I thought, that's it. But I did get a job at this company, New Line Cinema, which was looking for freelance script readers. And I got a job at another company called Republic Pictures that was looking for script readers. So I would run around hustling, getting paid $30 a script to do coverage, analysis of scripts.
Right.
And that's what I did.
And
So where were you? Sorry, where were you before New Line? Was it with one of the big studios?
It was with a company that had a deal at TriStar, the studio where my short story was.
And at that point, New Line, obviously post Lord of the Rings, New Line are known as the studio that created the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Pre-Lord of the Rings, they were the Nightmare on Elm Street studio, is that right?
Yeah, for sure. When I got there, it was after Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, but I think before Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. And those films, the Nightmare films, are critical to New Line. Those were the engine that pulled the train in those days. This is before Ninja Turtles, before House Party, before all those other franchises that New Line got into.
And what would you say defined New Line's signature as opposed to the other studios out there? When you read a script and you thought, oh, this is perfect for New Line, what was that?
It was usually left of center, and it was usually not dependent on the kind of big stars that only the major studios could afford to pay.
Right.
New Line didn't have the money to sort of negotiate for big stars, so we had to sort of make films that created stars. And it's not coincidental that Jim Carrey in The Mask or Austin Powers, Mike Myers, that we would make films that would create stars.
And Billy Boyd, of course.
Yeah, indeed. And by the way, Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson, that fit the New Line credo entirely.
Right.
Yeah. So you're reading scripts for New Line. When was the first time that you got to produce a movie?
It was Critters Part 3 and 4. The irony is, my very first films that I got to work on were a pair of sequels, low-budget, straight-to-video sequels for these New Line films in the old library, Critters, which were about sort of big furballs from outer space.
Yeah, I like them.
I like them too. Big mouths.
For sure.
Was Jennifer Aniston in Critters 3?
No.
Or was she in one of the Critters?
I don't think so. It
It
was Dee Wallace.
Leprechaun. Was it
Leprechaun, you're thinking.
Yeah. But we made a pair, the company wanted these films. We got a warehouse in Santa Monica, and we made Critters Go to Outer Space, which is really just being in a spaceship, and Critters Go to the Big City, which was really just in an apartment. So we had a soundstage. We had sort of the apartment set on one side. We had the spaceship set on the other side. We had the same crew, different directors, different editors, and different casts, obviously. And it's pretty funny that's how it started for me.
So is the business model there? Because I remember Critters, the first one, being a bit of a success, a bit of a breakout success, independent success. From there, is the business model with New Line, let's try and rush out kind of maybe a straight-to-video sequel, make some fast money? Like, were they trying to turn it into a new?
No, basically, New Line had a whole theatrical business. Because I was a junior executive, they thought they could make some money making low-budget sequels to sort of fill in the gaps within the business. And no one really at New Line at the time on the production team really wanted to do these low-budget movies. So I sort of got the job because no one else wanted to do the job.
Right.
And they said, well, Mark will do it. So they sort of said, yeah, go do it. Here's your budget. Stay within these parameters. Don't screw it up. And off you go.
And how did that feel, that new job? How did you take to producing at that point?
It was exciting. I mean, we had two main experienced producers, Rupert, and it was Barry Opper and Rupert Harvey, who were my mentors because they were really producing the movie. I was like the executive producer who was sort of just enabling. In a weird sort of way, it echoed everything I would grow up to do. Basically, I was there to help get them whatever they needed.
Right.
That was my main function. It basically presaged the entire Lord of the Rings thing and everything I ever did, because that was my function. But it was great to be out from behind the desk and not just writing analysis.
Right. And gaining a little bit of momentum so that when Lord of the Rings comes down the pike, you can be kind of like in the great position to be one of those producers.
Well, yeah,
right?
and for anyone that's watching and listening that wants to know how to get ahead at this, I mean, some of it is luck and timing. I was very fortunate because I was making these straight-to-video sequels, and then Sex, Lies, and Videotape happened at the Sundance Film Festival. And suddenly, people realized that you could have a really exciting, sexy business from these upscale art house films. And they wanted someone who was kind of aggressive, who they thought might have some taste, to go spearhead our efforts in that area. And they sort of looked at me and said, right, no more straight-to-video sequels for you. Now you're going to be the art house person.
Right.
So they just aimed me over in that direction. And I'm a pretty earnest person. I was even more earnest then. So, so basically, once I was given that job, I took it deadly, deadly seriously.
Right.
And I went to film festivals and I went racing around. And I was really, really lucky because I got to acquire distribution rights to all these terrific films And even the ones I didn't get, I got to compete for.
So at that point, then you're going to all these film festivals, seeing these sort of art house movies, and then you're trying to bring them to New
Yeah,
Line to distribute. Right.
Exactly.
So is this how you first saw a Pete Jackson movie? Or?
No, Peter Jackson precedes all of this. In the
Ah.
mid-'80s, I was working for a different company called Republic Pictures that did straight-to-video films, and I acquired finished movies, B-movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I got Bad Taste sent to me by the New Zealand Film Commission, and I desperately wanted to license the distribution rights of this film, and I failed. My bosses thought it was weird and violent and bloody, and it had accents. This is like 1985.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we're not doing a foreign film. I said, what?
Speak in English.
It's from New Zealand. But anyway.
So what did you see in Bad Taste that made you think this is a fantastic film?
It was just so kinetic and innovative and imaginative. But the thing I really did, and this is the most important thing from this whole anecdote, is after I failed, I wrote a letter to Peter Jackson, care of the New Zealand Film Commission. I had to stick it in a mailbox because it was the 80s. And I said, listen, you don't know me, but I tried to license your film and I failed. I failed you. But don't worry, he must have thought I was a freak when someday I'm going to be something in this town and then I won't fail you. And he wrote back like, cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks. You're weird.
You're weird, let's be friends.
But anyway, I did follow up with him because then I went over to New Line at that point, and New Line was a company with a theatrical distribution business. Suddenly, every problem at New Line, I had the solution. It was Peter Jackson. Any film that didn't have a director, I had the director for them, Peter Jackson. People must have thought I was insane. But I talked it up enough, and then when the Nightmare on Elm Street film series was sort of flagging a bit, I said, why don't we hire Peter Jackson to do one? We were always hiring multiple people. Like you might go, Freddie goes to the big city, and you're writing Freddie goes to outer space, and Peter Jackson is writing so we were always doing multiple ones because yours might be part 6, yours might be part 7. Fair enough. And they let me hire him.
For what?
It never got made.
But it would have been
Was it
what,
written?
4?
It would have been.
5?
It would have been after the Dream Child.
So that's Dream Child's 3, right?
No, Dream Child I think was 5.
Oh, it's 5.
It would have been instead of New Nightmare, maybe.
So was it written?
It was written. It exists.
How is it?
How was it?
It's fantastic.
Oh man, what a shame.
I'll only tee it up for you because it's too fun. It takes too long otherwise. But
No, it's good. We've
it's
got
basically
time.
the whole
We've got
conceit
time.
was Freddie is so played out that no one in Elm Street is scared of him anymore. In fact, kids go to sleep on purpose, like Clockwork Orange style,
Right.
just to beat up on him.
Right.
And he's weak. He hasn't had a real victim in years. And then through a series of circumstances, he manages to get one victim. He manages, and just enough to kind of get with it. And he realizes, and he's so angry, he decides he's going to pull all of Elm Street into Nightmare World. Forget this one kid and then another kid. Forget all that. We're going to go big or go home. We're just going to pull the entirety of Elm Street into the dream world.
Right.
And that was the conceit.
Oh, that's great.
That's great.
I mean, this business is full of incredible scripts written by amazing filmmakers that never got made.
Yeah,
right?
for
You know,
sure.
I'm
For
sure
sure.
Pete has a bunch of those. I know JJ had written a Superman script that never got off the ground, and there's tons of Batman scripts that never happened.
I'm
and
sure.
Spider-Man scripts, right? So you're championing Peter Jackson. You tried to do this thing with Nightmare on Elm Street. Pete was obviously down to do it. How did that not happen?
It just, when they went the other direction, as happens, Pete went on to do other things. He went on, at that point, he did Heavenly Creatures, he did The Frighteners.
Right.
But then, of course, he went to do Lord of the Rings and, of course, couldn't get it done the way he wanted to get it done at the company that was then Miramax.
Miramax, yeah.
And when that started to happen and they were trying to sort of, essentially make a situation where he had to leave the project if he was going to insist on making it his way. His agents and they called everyone, of course. And he called me and said, listen, I've got 3 weeks to set this up on terms where Miramax won't make it, or I'm not going to be on the project anymore.
Right.
So this is our chance. So, and it was just a fortuitous moment. There's a lot of providence involved because he basically says, I've got the pitch. You don't have to worry about the pitch. You just need to lay the groundwork.
Mm-hmm.
And New Line at that point was in a situation where we had been frustrated by our inability to make sequels to our Jim Carrey hits, The Mask and Dumb and Dumber.
Right.
And we tried to make the Foundation trilogy, and that hadn't happened. And so I simply put the thought out there that, well, we should do this because we're making the sequels in advance.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
You'll already have them.
Okay.
Built in, yeah.
Now, of course, I was talking about one sequel because
Mhm.
Peter and Fran were pitching 2 films.
2.
But then Bob Shea, the founder and chairman of New Line, actually one-upped it and said, no, 3.
Which is obviously the way that it's done because the books are split into 3.
Yeah.
When it was 2, Pete had obviously talked you through how that was looking. Can you remember where the first film would have ended?
From memory, I want to say Helm's Deep, but I would want
The end of Helm's Deep or
Yeah.
the beginning
Yeah.
of the film?
I think it might be the end, but I would want to test. I wouldn't want to trust my memory entirely to that.
Right. So at this point, because I know you've talked, over the years about the fact that, Pete had come over and slept on your couch at
Right.
one point.
Which is a block from New Line.
He had been to LA a few times. Had you traveled to New Zealand at that point?
I finally did, and I ended up meeting him. He came to the air. I was traveling through, and he basically met me at the airport, and we hung out.
Right.
At the airport, it was sad. But then eventually I got to go to his house, and he showed me the little house from Bad Taste, the miniature,
Right.
that he explained. You got to remember, I knew so little about how films were actually made
Right.
that to see the little house, which on film looks like a big house, and I'm like, this is like magic.
Yeah.
Oh, so he had like a miniature,
Yeah.
or would it bigature they called
Yeah,
it in Lord of the Rings,
exactly.
right?
Miniature, yeah.
So he did that at that time,
There was a real house, but he had built a miniature house which takes off into outer space.
and that's how he did that stuff.
Yeah.
Can I go off topic for a second?
William.
Can I? I know, because we're getting to some right good meaty stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. You
But I
want to
was
do
just-
more of the vegetables?
No, I was just thinking there when Mark was talking about distribution and straight to video and all that. And you might not have an answer to this because this
Sure.
is a question about growing up in Glasgow, Scotland.
Mm.
But where I grew up and videos came out and there was little video stores or your local store would have videos, Bad Taste was always there.
Yeah.
Same
along
with me.
with Warriors,
Critters, maybe.
maybe Critters,
For me. Is there
The Wild Bunch.
Mm.
Why were those movies always the video store movies?
Part of it was genre.
Right.
People sort of knew the kind of movies that got rented a lot, and they tended to be in certain dependable genres.
Mm.
But there was something about it, especially when I went and met Pete Jackson, and I thought, why was Bad Taste always, even if a little video store that had 10 movies, that would always be one of them?
Mm. It scared me, that cover as well.
Yeah.
The cover's the kind of gnarly looking. He almost looks like an orc.
Yeah,
kind of,
with the alien giving the finger.
giving the
Yeah,
finger. I remember it scaring me as a kid. I was like, oh, that's very aggressive. Very aggressive.
But I always thought that was a crazy sort of thing. And then I met him and I thought he was such a big part of my
Yeah.
growing up
Mm.
because it was one of the few videos that was always there
Mm.
Yeah.
that you could always get. Anyway, sorry.
Well, no,
No, sorry.
if you're digressing, I want to digress as well. Mark, you had said that for a while there, going back a little bit, you had established yourself as someone who had great taste in independent cinema, a kind of champion of independent filmmakers. For people out there, because I think unfortunately now we are moving in the industry where it's very difficult or much more difficult for
Yeah.
independent filmmakers to get ahead and sadly for independent films to be seen. Are there any films in that independent film canon that you would recommend people to watch? Or as an independent filmmaker,
Right.
how do they navigate their way through this Marvel, Disney
Right.
world nowadays?
You mean in terms of people making independent films?
Yeah, 'cause
Right.
it used to be easier. Would that be accurate to say?
It's always been hard. It is harder because the model of making independent film, aside from like the real DIY kind of independent films,
Right, like Pete's stuff.
Yeah, then you'd find like a foreign sales company and a bank and a U.S. distributor, and you'd sort of cobble together the pieces, the financial pieces, and build them together.
Yeah.
And now, because of the global streamers, that kind of model is less prevalent now.
Right.
And so it's harder. But so the global streamers put out more content, but not always of the sort we're talking about.
Right.
But I kind of feel like it's all about adaptability. Like if you want to make films, you have to make them at whatever level you're able to,
Mm-hmm.
and have faith that that your voice will be the distinctive thing that cuts through.
Mm.
You know, which I know sounds incredibly like Pollyanna to
Right,
say, but
right.
But I think that's honestly the only way to do it.
Right. And are there any independent films that you think are essential for people to watch and study and
Oh,
know
you mean
about?
like historically?
Yeah, someone's sat at home thinking, I'd love to be an independent filmmaker. What should I be watching? What should I study?
I think it's two ways to look at it. One, you can look at filmmakers, like certain filmmakers. There's certain case studies that transcend their period of time. Like you can always look at someone like in the genre space, other than Pete. Like there's Robert Rodriguez, for example, whose first film was literally like a $7,000 movie, and then how he leveraged and navigated that. You can look at the classic American independent, kind of filmmakers, whether it be John Sayles or from the American South. Like it's really about picking a filmmaker.
Do you have a favorite film, Mark?
I do have a favorite film. It always rotates, but my ultimate favorite film, oddly, is Apocalypse Now.
That's mine too.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's my all-time favorite film.
There you go.
Wow.
I can watch
There
that
you go.
film
You guys
over and
are
over.
It's like the greatest, biggest independent film of all time,
Yeah.
right?
I'm a sucker, big surprise, Lord of the Rings, right? I'm a sucker for anything when studios do something bold, daring, that really pushes the envelope by backing a filmmaker. That stuff is catnip to me. And you can find a lot of films, but that one particularly because of the vision of that and how hard, and Barry Osborne,
Right.
as you know, who
Extraordinary.
produced Lord of the Rings with Peter and Fran, he was a UPM on Apocalypse Now. And did he ever tell you the story about the elephant?
No, go on.
Okay, so there's in the compound with Colonel Kurtz, there's like all kinds of crazy stuff, and there was supposed to be, I guess, an elephant. The thought Francis Ford Coppola had this idea, there should be an elephant,
Right.
and there was only one elephant. It was in a zoo somewhere down in country, but far away, and so Barry had to find the animal, and then had to identify the route, and then there were bridges that were obviously not strong enough to hold a truck with an elephant. So he put together a plan to retrofit, let's say, the 4 bridges or however many there were between here and there. And he put together this whole plan, which is very Barry, and literally was about to execute the plan when Coppola said, "Oh, it's done. We're done. You don't have to do the plan."
Wow.
That's
Wow.
And that's movie making.
Yeah.
Planning for all kinds of things, being told, "Oh, Billy, Dom, we need you. You're going to do a thing, and you got to get ready. We're going to do it in a week." And you're like totally ready. "Oh, no, we can't do the thing."
Yeah, we're not doing that now.
Yeah, we're going to fly down to Twizel for a week and a half, 2 weeks, just to be on wet weather cover, and we might need you every single day. And they ended up not needing us at all, and we went mad, didn't we?
We did
went
go
mad.
slightly mad in Twizel.
Yeah.
And there is video footage that I've lost.
Yeah, you
I've
got to
lost.
find that. Well, that's brilliant. Okay, so let's try and get back on
Right,
topic.
sorry.
Yeah.
So you're at New Line. You've become a champion for Peter Jackson's work. He then presents to you this idea that he needs to get this Lord of the Rings double set of movies over the finish line. Is it Bob Shea and Michael Lim that said let's turn it into 3?
Yeah, Bob Shea was in the room along with Peter, Fran, Ken Cammons, their then agent, now manager, longtime partner.
You're there.
And I'm there. And Bob Shea, who I remain close with to this day, is famously inscrutable, hard to read. He watched the whole presentation. Peter had done a video that showed how forced perspective would make,
Seen this
normal sized
video.
actors, how massive was going to work, how Gollum was going to work. And you just couldn't tell how it was going, how the whole pitch was going. And then Bob sort of very famously said, "Well, Tolkien's already done your job for you. Why 2 films? Why not 3? And that was it's literally, I imagine the moment must have been like trying to get a wild animal to eat out of your hand without scaring it away.
Right.
Because I'm sure Peter and Fran must have been thinking, yes,
I mean,
3.
Pete and Fran are relatively inscrutable as well, right?
Yes.
Do you recall their reaction? Do you think that they wanted 3, but they weren't able to negotiate it?
I think all of them were sort of like,
Sure.
yes, totally, we could do
Great.
that. And then we set about a process whereby the 2-film plan and the budget and the script had to then be reconstituted. And then suddenly Philippa And Peter and Fran had to turn it into 3 scripts and a whole new production plan and a whole new budget, which obviously went up, and as it should. And then we were underway. And then casting.
Do you recall what year that would be?
Yeah, they came in July of, I want to say of 98. We started shooting in October of 99. So it would have been in July, August of 98 when that meeting happened.
Just over a year.
Is it basically at that meeting, just to let people know how it go, do they basically get a yes there?
It's an incremental yes. So
Right.
we got a yes, which meant New Line now had to make deals with Miramax, Saul Zaentz, and Peter and Fran to make deals to do this. Once those deals were made, then a sort of enhanced R&D development process started, whereby we kept spending money to support the sort of R&D process, the writing process, the budgeting process, all the different things. And then it got to a green light where instead of looking at spending maybe $20 million to see if we could do it, now we're going to see if we're going to spend $200 million to actually make it.
So the green light is when that's it. These films are getting made
at this price.
And at that point, are you're part of the movie?
At that point, I did. When my honest thought, up until Lord of the Rings, the most expensive film New Line I worked on was $6 million.
Yeah.
So I actually had zero expectation of working on the films. I thought my job was simply to be an advocate for Peter, to bring him in, to hopefully lay some foundation with he and Bob, and then if it worked, yay. And they'd get someone else on the team to work on it who was more experienced than me.
Because the budget for the original trilogy was what, 260, 270?
It was greenlit at like 207.
207 and then some extras.
And then as time went by, more. And the brilliant thing about New Line is the sort of the pride of authorship. And I remember Shay said, like, well, who else are we going to have do it? You read the books when you were a kid. He's your friend.
Great.
Sleeps on your couch.
Right.
Who else is going to know if it's working or not working? You're going.
Yeah, you're perfectly positioned.
And then the irony is, so they would send me down and I would go to sort of look out for things, like look out for the studio's interest. And then Peter would then pull me into so many things that I didn't even realize I'd get pulled into, because in his mind, it was in his benefit that I was knowledgeable about anything that was going on.
Yeah.
So eventually I could speak to the studio about things that he didn't have to speak about.
Right.
So the more I went, the more I wasn't allowed to leave.
Right.
And I just stayed.
You're the go-between. So just to back up a little bit, so you guys are all in that office. Bob Shame and Michael Lynn said, why don't we turn it into a trilogy instead of 2? Pete and Fran and Phil say, that sounds great. Is there a point through that process where those guys, Phil and Fran and Pete, have a little moment with you of like, we did it? Or do you never fully get there because there's new targets to set each
I don't
time?
remember that moment. I think the moment I really felt that is when the films were actually greenlit.
Right.
When they were really greenlit. And by the time they were greenlit, you all were in it.
Right.
Even though we hadn't met, like, I knew you were there. Like, the casting process had gone on. All the major roles were cast.
Right.
And the whole thing, it was sort of that, because that point, you know how it is when you make films and television. You don't really know you're making it until you're there making it.
Walking on set. So the film gets greenlit. Do you recall how quickly you then went to New Zealand and were kind of Pete's right-hand man?
I can't remember how quickly. I just know that I went increasingly more and more, where my whole calendar started shifting, where I measured it by not so much how much time I was going to go down for, but how much time I was coming back.
Okay.
So it just sort of happened over time. There was always things to do.
Right. Pete obviously had Wingnut was up and running for a while before then, and Weta, but it's a completely different Weta than what it is now.
Yeah.
Do you recall the first time walking around that Weta and what it was like?
Yeah, it was great. It was because basically Weta, the DNA of Weta was the same then as it is now. It was like innovative and envelope pushing, and what Lord of the Rings enabled to have happen is just unbelievable amounts of resources getting pumped into the place so that all these talented people could just do a lot more.
Right.
That's really what happened. The spirit of the place is really no different.
Right.
I saw a picture today actually from Weta, where I think it was very early on, where they got maybe 40 people in and did them all as orcs. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh,
Richard
yeah.
Taylor, right?
Yeah, and it's got Richard. When would that have been? Would that have been?
That definitely would have been during pre-production because all those orc masks, because they don't even look like the actual finished.
Not quite.
Yeah.
But it's starting to get the style, isn't it? It must have been so weird being down there
for sure.
when those decisions are being made, because I'm sure you've seen things that never made it to the movie that maybe even you wanted or didn't want, or just all the changes that we will never know was there.
You sort of have to hold on loosely, I find, because you basically want to back. It's all about backing the artists. If you're someone, Michael DeLuca, who runs MGM, but who was at New Line at the time, and whom gave me this great advice, sort of like 90% of the job is picking the right people or being picked by them.
Right, okay.
Because if you don't get that right, then everything else you do is struggle. So if you've picked the right people or you've been picked, then you're about enhancing, enabling, facilitating that process. If you picked wrong or you've been picked wrongly, then no matter how hard you try, everything's going to be struggling.
Right, because with Pete ultimately, being the puppet master on those trilogy of films, based on his ability and his level of talent, it all trickles down from Pete. Huh?
Yeah, for sure.
Just to touch upon what you just said there, I remember us all being so excited that we were going to film this sequence in the boats where we got attacked on the shoreline by orcs.
Oh, yeah.
And about 3 or 4 days before we were going to start doing that sequence, which I think was going to be at least a week, if not more, of filming, Queenstown was flooded and the sets got completely washed away. And Pete just said, we just won't do it.
And what's that like as a producer?
Yeah.
I mean, that must be sleepless nights.
Flooded Queenstown.
Yeah, you can't
Phone
even
call.
think about it because it's basically, you have to be sort of addicted to problem solving.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's complete madness. And you have to sort of look at it as opportunity. Otherwise, you'll just go crazy.
I remember when we arrived in Queenstown and they had ladders up in the hotel. You couldn't get in because there was no foyer.
Yeah.
It was underwater. And we went up ladders into the first floor. And we were like, this can't be where we're filming.
It was crazy.
People were going down the main street in canoes.
In canoes. We were advised not to go into the center of town because there was a few restaurants we wanted to go to and go have some fun. And we were advised because the water had now become a little fetid and not great. We spent one of our afternoons, I remember you and I, helping people move sandbags around. Do you remember that? There was tons, literally tons of sandbags at this hotel, and we were moving them from one part that wasn't as flooded as the other part to the overly flooded section.
So for us, a sort of adventure, but I'm sure for you, Mark, is like sleepless nights on the phone to Bob Shea saying, we've just lost $500,000 down a river.
It's funny. I learned a lot of valuable lessons on Rings. One of the things, when a problem happens, find the solution and then communicate the problem.
Right.
Nice.
Which is something that when you're earnest like me, that's not the natural instinct. The natural instinct is, communicate everything in real time. But if you're calling about the problem and you don't have a solution, are you really doing any good?
Right.
Are you doing anybody any good, including yourself?
Right.
By doing that. I mean, I remember Council of Elrond. This is a Queenstown thing too. It was shooting, obviously we were in Queenstown a bunch of times for different things, but one time I was there and I was looking forward to seeing things. I was hardly ever on set. It was kind of hysterical. And Peter said, well, the Council of Elrond is like, if we shoot the Council of Elrond as it's currently scripted, it's going to be like a 45-minute, not literally, but it's going to be some gigantic thing. And that's obviously not viable, but the scene has to be the scene. And Philippa and Fran are working on it. So you should go and work, be there as sounding board, be helpful. Go be helpful. So I said, great, I'll go be helpful. And then you realize this thing is shooting like next week. And you realize the pressure and the consequences. If you think for a minute, like, gosh, if this doesn't get sorted, then next week is going to suffer the consequences of something not. Fran's whole thing about laying track before the moving train,
Right.
that's where that stuff comes from, right?
Right.
And then you realize, oh, this actually has to be solved. We can't spend any time telling people that there's a problem. It just has to be solved.
Right. Yeah, and we were saying just before you came on that you have this innate ability, Mark, whether it's just your personality or how good you are at your job, that you're able to wear a lot of hats and do that really well. I always felt in my naivety back in New Zealand when I was 24, I kind of thought, okay, so Ordesky is kind of the go-between for the actors and the studio. But that wasn't your job at all.
That was one of them, though.
You were really good at that with us that I thought, oh, that's what Mark's doing. But obviously, you were doing specific jobs for New Line and Bob Shea and Mike Lim. You were doing specific jobs for Pete and Fran and Philippa. But every time I saw you, I was like, oh, Mark's like this kind of oil in between everyone where he's making sure everyone's okay and everyone's having a good time. And are there any problems you need to talk to us about? And, we're all much younger men back then. We were out and about partying and, eating meals and drinking and having fun. And I remember just thinking, it's like Mark's been here the entire time.
Yeah.
And I think I even read, I'm sure, maybe this isn't true, but you went to Pete once with something and Pete got you doing off-camera lines?
Pete
Is that true?
Yes, Pete has a great sense of humor because since I've known him since the mid-'80s, he could read me. I'm not that hard to read, but he could definitely read me. And I was coming to set. First, if I'm coming to set and it's not about set,
there's a problem.
Then that means I'm about to interrupt.
Right.
And I must obviously feel it's very timely. So I came marching in my Mark way purposefully, and he saw me coming. And before I could open my mouth, he said, "So good you're here. We're doing like Fanghorn Forest, and no one's here to do Gimli's offlines."
Brilliant.
And we've got Ian here, we've got Orlando, we've got Vigo. If you stand behind that tree, you can do Gimli's lines. It'll be so helpful.
Brilliant.
Ian, won't it be helpful? Oh yes.
Oh, yes.
Dear boy,
Very
it'd be very, very helpful. So for 3 hours, I was stuck behind the tree. And by the way, there's almost no photographs of me on set
Right.
at Lord. There's one photograph, which I am convinced to this day, Peter had someone take. I'm sitting there looking borderline moody, broody, holding my little sides, which I never held sides because why would I have them?
Right.
Reading off lines and looking, I got played.
Nice. I love that. Yeah, Pete's a
He also
smart
tricked
cookie.
me into announcing the world premiere of
We were
Return of
there.
the King in
were
New
there.
Zealand during Two Towers.
He did the same to me in a much more minor way. He pulled the same trick that he pulled on you. So with you at the Wellington, where
It
were
was
you?
the Two Towers Wellington premiere.
Which was not the world premiere of Two Towers. Was
No.
that in LA or New York?
For Two
London,
Towers, I
maybe.
think, no, for Two Towers, I think it was in the,
London, was
I
it?
think it was in
London,
London.
maybe.
Yeah.
So at the premiere for Two Towers in Wellington, he brought you up on, well, you were on stage, but he
Yeah.
brought you up in front of the mic and
Yeah.
said, "Where is the world premiere for The Return of the King going to be?" And you were like, Wellington. You did the same thing to me, ish, at the One Ring party at the Oscars when it was the clean sweep that for Return of the King at the Oscars. He mentioned that prank that I pulled on Elijah where I played the German journalist. And he said, while I was on stage with him, Dom did this really funny prank and we'd love to have it on the DVD extras. What do you guys all think? And all the crowd went, yay. And then he said, what do you think, Dom? And I went, yeah, sounds great. Want to throw me some cash? No? Okay, we'll do it for free.
Dom,
Hey!
fantastic chat with Mark.
Yes.
I'm having a good time with this one.
Yeah, he's a fascinating guy. And because we spoke at length, we're going to split it into two, aren't we?
I think it's a good idea, Dom,
Mm-hmm.
because great stories, and I think really interesting to hear the stories of Lord of the Rings from a producer's point of view, and hear how that was different. And we hear a lot from the actors, and I think it's really interesting to hear from Mark.
I agree. And I think a lot of people out there that might not be involved in our business think, okay, the director is the ultimate boss and the director makes all these decisions, but without a producer helping the director to be able to make those artistic choices, you're really in a mess. Producers make sure that their director can have their best day on set. And Mark, being involved in what must have been one of the more complicated trilogies to ever make, if not the most complicated trilogy, because that would be quite overwhelming for me to.
You can do it.
I honestly don't.
I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, I don't think I could. So, if you want to be a producer, if you want to know what life as a producer is like and some of the pressures and responsibilities, tune in next week as well, because Mark's he's going to break it down. It's a little bit of rapping for you.
So you'll be hearing it from one of the great producers and hearing it from Mark Ordesky.
And one of the two truly average actors, myself and Billy.
So, don't forget to write in to The Friendship Onion at castmedia.com or leave a message at speakpipe.com/The Friendship Onion. Rate, review, subscribe.
Subscribing is very important, especially if you want to hear the story of me
Skaters.
myself at work into a pair of open-toed sandals.
Did they have a heel?
Didn't have a heel, no.
Okay.
It was kind of a Velcro grip. I threw them away quite soon after the incident.
Don't
Not
tell us
immediately.
anymore. Don't tell us
Now,
anymore.
Once we get 200,000 subscribers, I will unleash that story in the same way that my bowels did upon the tops of my thighs, which is a shame when I think about it. But the reason why I tell this story is I actually had initially, for the first kind of half an hour, quite a lot of shame associated with that story.
Yeah.
When I ran to the bathroom,
Dripping.
Skaters.
Skaters. My legs.
Yeah.
To clean my dirty thighs. I remember thinking, this is the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to
What,
me.
to
Skaters.
in public?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be.
And I thought, the thing to do now is...
Wait a minute. Are you telling us
No,
the story?
I'm just telling you this bit. The thing to do now is tell everyone. Tell everyone.
Right.
So that's why in this particular platform, when we get 200,000 followers, I like to tell everyone, because then there's no shame. Shame likes to be hidden. No, don't hide it.
No.
Bring it out into the open. Bring it into the light.
And once we get 300,000, Dom and I will write a song called When Dom
Skaters.
Himself in Public.
So subscribe to The Friendship Onion. Leave your comments, questions, concerns on our YouTube channel. We love trying to do tongue twisters. We love hearing about song lyrics that you inadvertently or purposefully get wrong. And there was another thing. Oh, riddles. I love a good riddle.
Riddle me this, Dom. That sounds as if I had a riddle there, but I
You
don't.
didn't have one?
No.
There's a great riddle in the new The Batman film. Let me try it for you. See if
Is
you
it
get
the Riddler who does it?
Mhm.
Is it? I've not seen the film.
Oh, well, there you go. Should I try it?
If you want, yeah.
What does a liar do when he's dead? What
Lies.
Almost.
Lies down. Lies still. Lie still.
Amazing!
Absolutely nailed it. See you next week
See ya!
on The Friendship Onion.
Harmonize with me and hold me tight all through the night. You're shining bright, I'm your oyster, baby, you're my pearl.